Okay, I think we can start. A warm welcome to the Digital Open Day for the first level short specialization degree in Italian Master di Primo Livello in Personal Construct Psychology and Counseling. First of all, I would like to thank you all for signing up for the Open Day of the course, which is being held as part of the Digital Open Week of UniPD Postgraduate Executive Learning Offer. My name is Tommaso Dall'Acqua, and I work for Unismart, which is the University of Padua Foundation, which is organizing this initiative. But before giving the floor to Professor Sabrina Cipolletta, she is director of the course, I would like to give you some technical and practical communication for the success of the Open Day. First, please keep your microphone switched off during the speaker's presentation to allow a clearer presentation, of course. Second, please write down any question or request you might have during the presentation, and you can write it down on the Zoom chat. This way, I will be able, and also all the speakers will be able to read them in the final Q&A session at the end of the Open Day. Of course, you will be also able to put your question and request at the end directly during this final stage. Lastly, I would like to inform you that this Open Day will be recorded and then made available on the site dedicated to the course program on the ul.unipd.it portal for the use of everyone, especially those who were unable to attend. I therefore hand over the floor to Professor Cipolletta for the start of the Open Day and enjoy. Thank you.
Okay.
Professor, you can share the screen.
Okay, here we are. Give me 1 second. Wow. Okay.
Perfect, we can see.
Okay. So, good evening, everybody. I wanted to put all of you here so I can see you in some way. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you see my screen or not.
Yeah, we can see it. Clearly.
I would like to have all of you, but in the other way, I can't do that. Okay, never mind. Okay. Oh, now I succeeded. I'm much better than speaking alone or covering part of the screen. So I was saying I'm Sabrina Cipolletta. I am the coordinator of this short specialization program. So I'm here today to present the program. What we are going to do is I will speak, I don't know, for half an hour, 40 minutes, and I will, if it works, okay, I will present some basic concepts of the program, the organization of the program, some general information, practical information, then ask for questions, and finally, I leave the floor to 1 or 2 testimonials. That means students who have already attended the first year of the course. And you have to remember also the first year of the course in general, because this is a new short specialization program, which was started last year for the first time. So this is the 2nd edition. Let's start from some introductory concepts. First of all, for those who don't know the University of Padua, you are looking at a program which is based at the University of Padua, which is a university which has 800 years of age. So an old, well-established and renowned university with more than 60,000 students and 2,000 professors, 32 departments. So it's one of the oldest and most prestigious seats of learning in Europe and into the world. The second key concept for this program is that it is based on the idea of studying in an international environment. What does it mean? It doesn't mean simply that it is entirely held in English. It also means that you have the chance to meet professors from all over the world and also students from different countries. And this is a great chance for me of exchange, but let's listen also to the experience of the students. And finally, that this program was planned and is led in collaboration with the Department of Psychology, Sport and Geography of the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. Third, the idea of the program is that it is a practical learning in practice, I write here. That means that in 2 years, more precisely 18 months, you will have the chance to be trained in educational, developmental, and organizational fields through 301 hours of lessons and 300 hours of traineeship. The active learning collaboration is the basis of the training. The approach, the theory, the framework of this training is personal construct psychology, which is precisely the name of the course. For those who are not used to this theory, who don't know this theory, the basic concept is that there is not a truth or false way of considering things, that we are interested in how people view themselves and others. As Kelly, who was the father of the theory, said, if you do not know what is wrong with someone, ask them, they may tell you. So we strongly believe that we can learn from each other. And this is the basis also of our training. Thereby, the relationship is central in the training. The relationship also, which is during the training between students, between professors and students. So it's used not only as an aim of the training, but also as a tool within an environment which is based on collaboration, openness, and acceptance. But again, let's listen to what students say. One of them today emailed to me sharing this kind of experience. Let's see if she will be able to attend today, and so she will tell you directly. Let's go to more practical aspects about the basis of the course. First of all, what do you need to enter the course? We have to keep in mind that this is a first level program. What does it mean? That it is enough to have a bachelor to attend the course, a bachelor not in any fields, but in humanities, education, or medicine, or other social and healthcare professionals. You will find on the website all the list of all the bachelor degrees which are allowed to be admitted in the course. The classes are, as I said, mainly online, usually twice per month, usually on Saturday. And they run from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So those are 7 academic hours per day for a total of 231 hours, academic hours, 33 days of lessons online. Then we have 7 days in presence, which are divided in 2 residential stays of 3 days in the UK, probably in May 2025, in April 2024, and 4 days in May 2025 in Italy. Those workshops are longer in terms of hours. Those are 10 academic hours, which is 8 hours. So from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Usually. And as I said, are on site. So they give you the chance to interact directly with the professor, not only virtually online, even if also I again want to remark the interaction is not only welcome, but is part of the lesson also online. And again, we can listen to the experience of previous students to have a confirmation of that. of this time, students must attend at least 70% of the total classes. Sorry, but sometimes it doesn't change the slide. In addition, as I mentioned before, students have to do 300 hours of traineeship, which are practical activities that they can organize locally, so in their own country, getting in touch with the public services, clinical healthcare, educational, social, or organizational institutions. It might be places where they have already been working or are in contact with. Of course, we give assistance to them. I didn't mention before, you see here some people, and in particular Elisabetta, who will be the tutor of next edition of the course. So she will assist you in all the practical issues to eventually also do an agreement with a specific institution where you can go and have the traineeship. And also, of course, give you any kind of answers. Finally, you are required to do a final dissertation, which consists in a research project that might be one case study or the report of your training experience. So even if it is called a research project, it doesn't mean that you have to lead a research, a proper study. You may, but you also may not. Usually we suggest a maximum of 10,000 words for each thesis, and at the end you will have the chance to discuss your thesis with a board of professors. So what this journey will allow you to reach, we hope that you will have the chance to have some tools for psychological assessment, counseling and intervention in the clinical, educational, developmental and organizational fields. In particular, so you will be able to work in the areas of health, well-being, social care, education, within private and public organization, and especially in an international or intercultural setting, as you have been training precisely in this kind of environment. Many of you ask us if they are allowed to do counseling or psychotherapy according to the legislation. I already can tell you that it depends on each country regulation. So you have to check with your country and understand what is allowed you to do. I mean that as any other short specialization program, this program gives you tools, skills, but then it's up to you and your country, of course, to be recognized or not for that activity. So I don't have a unique answer to this question, but we can go, we can speak about that again later on, maybe. An additional opportunity that the University of Padua gives you is that you will be given an open badge, which is precisely a digital diploma, which is recognized all over the world, which testifies that you have acquired these skills and you have fulfilled 60 credits ECT. So you can ask if they are recognized in your own country in different contexts. You will find here all the links to have more information about these and in general what open badges are. Let's go more in depth into what this training is. So the program of the training. It is divided in different contents. The first one deals with the personal construct theory and practice. So here all the teachings referring to this area deal with more epistemological principle underlining the theory but also some specific concepts of the theory that deal with the mind-body relationship, emotions, diagnostic constructs, and dependency constructs. This is a core part of the program. We'll see more in depth in the calendar. We then have some specific teachings on the tools derived by personal construct theory, tools for assessments, tools for intervention, also with specific populations, such as children, older people, refugees, or migrants, with groups, organization, but also with critical events such as end of life and grief. We have some specific teachings on different approaches to psychology and psychotherapy, such as psychoanalysis, behavioral and cognitive theory, humanistic and systemic approach. We then have some specific teachings on the techniques of interview, how to generate research questions. So we have both teachings for intervention, assessment, but also for doing research. And so also some teachings, as we will see, for qualitative and quantitative methods for the analysis. We have more general teachings in general psychology, because not all of you comes from a bachelor in psychology, and so we are going to explore the basic functions of perception, memory, emotion, cognition, and action, but also some neurological and physiological aspects of psychological processes, something about psychiatry, because it's important that you also have tools to discriminate the kind of disorder you're dealing with. So you might also have some tools for doing that. And then, crucial, some knowledge about ethics. Of course, because it is underlying all kinds of interventions we are doing with our clients. So we have two teachings, one on the general ethics of intervention, and one more specific in the PCP perspective. We have some knowledge and some teachings about social psychology and communication, so how people relate to each other, and use also technological tools to communicate with each other, and some principle of psychotherapy research. Some principle of developmental and family psychology, and as I mentioned, it's psychiatry and mental health issues. You have to keep into account that in planning this training, we also refer to the minimum requirements that the UK asks for becoming a psychotherapist. This is not a diploma that allows you to be a psychotherapist, but it is part of that. Maybe David can say something more about that, as Professor David Winter will be the one, as we'll see in the calendar, who will be in charge of the specific training on PCP. And he's from the UK, so he can maybe share with us some ideas of how you can use also this diploma for psychotherapy in the UK. But as I said, it's not the only aim, because this knowledge is used in different contexts. This is why we have this huge kind of teachings, because you can use these knowledges and skills in education, in mental health field, and so on and so forth. Now, some very key dates and things to remember, which are when classes are starting. They are starting in December 2023, so this year, in a few months, and ending in June 2025. This is because, as I said, it's a 2-year program, but it is led in 18 months to allow you, on one hand, to have a recognition of a 2-year training, which, as I will see, is useful in the English context, but also to allow you to have time to do other things, not to be too much compressed. And so to have too much pressure, this allows us to have classes twice per month instead of 4 times or for 2 days twice per month. And then again, to sum up, as I said, it is mainly online. A part of those 2 residential stays, one in Padua and one in the Hertfordshire. ECTS are 60, as I said. The teaching method is blended, and the mandatory attendance is 70% of the classes. And now, finally, we have a tentative program. Tentative because it of course depends on the number of people enrolled, if we will be able to lead. We have already agreed the dates of teaching with the professors for these academic years. So we have still to contact professors for next year. But I want to share with you this picture to give you really a sense of what the program will be. So as you see, we will start in December to allow all of us to have time after that you will be enrolled in the program to organize yourself and make available on the first Saturday in December, where we have me and Professor Winter, who will welcome you and introduce you to the PCP theory. We'll then have a list of, I would call them general teachings. I mean, teachings which are not specific of the constructivist theory or are within the constructivist approach, but not giving you specific tools, but rather allowing you to see how this approach can be applied in specific fields. As you see, those pink, almost pink, teachings are those specific of PCP. The white one are those that are not specific of PCP. Green means when you are, as you see, being in the residential stay. So after this first introduction on December, we'll have in January a general teaching on psychoanalysis. And another day on a humanistic approach and systemic approach. As you see, sometimes the day are split. So we have professors doing a half a day each. We'll have a specific intervention of Professor De Leo, who is one of the most renowned person in the field of suicide, who is doing precisely an intervention on that and presenting you some key issues on this topic. Then we have Professor Valentina Cardi, who is an expert in intervention in mental health, who has been working for years in the UK also. And so she has a very practical approach to intervention. Then we have again two split days between Robert Niemeyer, who is one of the biggest expert in the field of loss and grief in PCP terms, and Joanne Robinson, who is an expert in intervention with children. So we are having this specific applications, implementation of PCP theory. We'll have 3 residential days in the UK. The first day will deal with personal construct theory and anger, and the second day with the application of PCP within the court. Finally, for a full day, you will have the chance to meet Professor David Winter in person. As you see, we have, for the first year, we are proposing an experiment this year. For the first year, we have some teachings, which are, of course, the general ones, not the specific training with Professor Winter, which are merged with the teachings of the previous edition. It means that you will meet together with them. This is an experiment. We'll see if it will work. But as participants in the previous edition are not so many, I don't know how many you will be this year, I think we have a group which is good to stay all together. Of course, if too many people will enroll this year, then we'll have to split the courses. But if the numbers will be the same, we would like to try this experiment and see how it works. We strongly believe in interaction and exchange. So the possibility to meet with different people, I think, will be interesting. A part of those teachings that you see heightened, that are specific of your training. So you have to follow your path with mainly Professor Winter. Let's go on simply mentioning some of the other teachings. Professor Gimignani will speak about intervention with the refugees and immigrants, whereas we have Professor Simonelli who will present models and tools in the intervention with children. Professor Feixas from Barcelona, who will present assessment of dilemmas and conflict. Dr. John Fisher, who will present some tools of PCP in the organization. Sally Robbins of working with older people. Again, we have this split lesson. You see here Massimo Grassi and John Ruskin. We split the lessons, of course, of those coming from the USA, also to allow them to teach in hours that are not night for them. So John Ruskin is teaching in the afternoon, PCP, epistemology formulation, whereas Professor Grassi, basic concepts of psychology in the morning. And I don't know if you want to read all these, but I think you can read your own. Just let's go quickly towards the end. As you see, in May 2025, we will have the second residential stay in Italy this time, and we'll finish the program in June. I give you some few seconds to have a look, but this is the main structures, and then we can go back there if you have questions and something is not clear. So going towards an end, I remember that we have a minimum available spots of 11 people and a maximum of 40 that we'll never have, I suppose, but just to be large. An enrollment fee, which is 3,200 plus taxes per the whole program in 2 installments. The administration is in the Department of General Psychology, but the information are given by regarding the registration are given by the central offices of the University of Padua. Keep in mind that pre-registration is shortly ending. The deadline is the 6th of October. To pre-register, you have to enter online a link which you can find in also in the website of the program. Which lead you to this system, which is called PICA. You also find the instruction in English, a link to the instructions in English. And please keep attention, because last year we had the problem that some of the people registering were not uploading curriculum or the thesis, whereas we need all these documents, because then we have to evaluate the applications. And as you can see in the admission notice, the curriculum is evaluated and also the thesis. So if you can upload also the thesis, that's more than welcome. Of course, a copy of a valid personal identity document, and also all the titles that you believe may be useful. I don't know, any degrees or other courses you have done during your career. So keep in mind this deadline of October the 6th, and then keep in mind that by October 19, from October 19, we'll publish as soon as possible probably precisely October 1920, will publish the results of the results of the first selection, and then you have only 10 days, less than 10, 8 days by October 27th to register. And if we will not have enough registration by October 27th, then we have the possibility to replace if we have available spots by November 10th. At that point, everything is closed. And so we can start to plan to start the course, just to try to imagine some unusual, frequently asked questions. Many people say, what happens if I miss some lessons? Nothing, because you have 30% of the total class hours that you can miss. And nevertheless, you still can have your title if you fulfill all the other criteria, of course. Another question regards how can I plan my traineeship. As I said, you will be you can look around yourself, and you will be assisted by our tutor. These are the main contacts. This is the telephone number of my office. This is the email of the course, and this is the website of the course again. So I think it's all on the part of me. I thank you for your attention. And if you have any further questions, I'm here. And then I will leave the floor to Professor Winter first. Maybe I first leave the floor to Professor Winter, then we get the questions, and then and also to Eleanor, if you agree. And so you can do the question to any of us. Okay? Yes, David, please.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm not sure I have a great deal to add, Sabrina, but I'm based at the University of Hertfordshire in the UK. Emmy was asking why the first spring school is going to be in the UK. It's largely because the programme is a partnership between the universities of Padova and Hertfordshire. The University of Hertfordshire has a long tradition in personal construct psychology. And so there will be an opportunity for you to meet leading members of the field from the UK. For those of you who don't know the UK, Hertfordshire is just north of London. The university is about 20 minutes by train from London. And there will be a possibility of staying in accommodation on campus, or you may prefer to stay in London and commute to the university. And the university also has a very large collection of personal construct psychology books and papers, including many unpublished papers by George Kelly, who developed the theory.
Thank you, David, and thank you also for this, for adding this. I was precisely thinking that I forgot to put them up. Also about where Padova is, because we cannot assume that anybody knows it, but just to let you know, it's half an hour from Venice by train. So almost everybody knows where Venice is. So it's very near to, Padova is very near to Venice. So now you have an idea. Both of them are very easy to reach by plane or main transportations. So Eleanor, would you like to say something?
Yeah, sure. So I've just been the guinea pig in the first year. I'm based in the UK. I'm an independent speech and language therapist. I couldn't have been more pleased when I saw this course come up. I'd already done a little bit of studying in personal construct psychology and had completed the foundation course here in the UK. But there was no other courses to take me any further to pursue the knowledge and really get stuck in and ultimately become a psychotherapist counselor in PCP, which is what I'm wanting to do in the future. So this course is really, for me, ticking all those boxes. I'm getting the theory, and I've got my supervisors lined up, and I'm currently a trainee psychotherapist in the UK. So if anybody is interested in that, there is a route round it. But the course has been great. You know, it's fascinating seeing, you know, these leading figures from all over the world, and yeah, you know, it's been really good. And the highlight so far has been going to Padova, which one is absolutely beautiful. It's half an hour from Venice, so that they're the really big ticks. It's lovely to come together as a group and meet everybody. You know, Zoom, as all professors would say as well, Zoom does have its downsides, of course. You know, you can't be together, but having that opportunity to come together when you've already made some types of relationships already was a really wonderful experience. It's been, you know, so far so good, and we just started the second year now.
Thank you, Eleanor. Yeah, I want to just follow what you're saying, because yeah, also I see that Elisa by the end couldn't come. As I was saying to some of you before, I invited her also to come. She's an Italian, in this case, student. She's an arts. She has young children, so she was saying if I will come online, I don't know if I will be, you know, there will be some noise or something like that. But I answered that that's precisely the reason why she could come also this evening, because so you have an idea of what an online course means. Of course, it gives you the chance to attend online, staying at home, and of course, we all know that everything may happen, some noise, something outside. Nevertheless, as Eleanor was saying, we have interaction. Elisa was precisely writing to me and asked me to share with you the idea that even if you are online, she could feel that she was creating a relationship with the professors and with the other participants into the course. But then for sure, I agree with Eleanor, meeting in Padua was great. Also very emotional on my side. And so, yeah, I think that the option, the possibility to enjoy is very important also for this kind of courses. So thank you, Eleanor. I see already some questions. I would prefer if you could pause speaking, but I see that the first one we already answered, which is some more information about the residential stay in the UK.
Yeah, the second question is about the thesis. If it's not entirely written in English, it needs to be translated or not?
It must be in English. The thesis, yeah, it must be in English, because I mean, the course is in English. I mean, it's not written anywhere. It might be also agreed in some exceptional cases that if you are supervised by an Italian professor, but it should be in English, because also the board, no, I'm just thinking aloud, the board, I mean, those who will participate and read your thesis, for instance, Professor Winter doesn't...
But it is the question about the thesis that is part of the course, or the thesis that you submit with your application documents?
No, I think, I thought it was the final dissertation. No, the thesis, no, the thesis can be in your own language, of course, right. No, the thesis is your original thesis. And don't worry, because we, of course, if it is in Italian, we understand it. There is someone in the commission, in the board, who can understand it. In English, everybody. If it is in another language, never mind. We will trust you and try to have I mean, and I generally, yeah, thank you, David, for also helping me to understand what was the question.
The last question we have is about the topic of the thesis, whether it's relevant or not for the admission to the course.
Okay. Yeah.
Please.
Not so relevant. I mean that in any case, if you see in the different percentage, it's only 10%, I think, of all the evaluation. It's simply because it gives us an idea of what we were working about, so to know you better. It was honestly more relevant last year, because last year we had some funds. So the graduation, the ranking was more relevant. In this case, it's simply, for instance, if you have done a degree course which is very far away from ours, but maybe your thesis is very close to, when I say ours, what do I mean? Relationship. As I said, this is the core of the school. So in some way, communication, relationship is a key topic.
We have also another question from Silvia Priori. Hi, I would like to know if it's possible to be admitted with a master's degree in law. I've been very interested in the topic since the university, and I'm looking for something like that for a long time. Thank you.
That's a very good question. Can someone assist me if law was among? I don't think so. Law,
but there is some work on personal construct psychology and law.
Exactly.
So
I don't think that law is in the list. Nevertheless, my suggestion is apply, because this is precisely why we ask all these documents. Because if you show that in any case, maybe for the thesis, for some courses you have done, or other work as a volunteer, who knows, you have done, we as a board have the license to admit you. So we have an exception. I can say that we have an engineer in the previous course. He had already led a course in counseling, so we decided that we could admit him, and I think it was a good choice. I think it's an interesting resource, and it feeds the interaction in the group. So we strongly believe in interdisciplinary, and so yeah, I wouldn't say no also to a degree in law.
I don't think we have other question. I asked participants if you wanna put. We have a raised hand. Hello, Physio Mata. Hi.
Hello.
Hi. How are you?
Hello, David. Hello, Sabrina.
Hello.
We know each other from the PCP Congress in Barcelona. I think the PCP teachers for the course are impressive. It exceeded my expectations greatly. I know it took a lot of work to bring them all together on this. I think this will be very meaningful as time goes on, as years go on. And I have just a couple of questions, because maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm already thinking about the traineeship. Are the supervisors in, for example, the NGO or the healthcare setting supposed to be PCP? Or is it possible to do it at a place where there aren't other PCP practitioners? That was my question.
Thank you. Very good question. This was something we have been discussing often with our students. And of course, that's absolutely understandable as a question. We cannot assume that all of you will find a supervisor who is trained in PCP. Thereby, for us, is enough that each of you believe that you can do a good work with them, which is dealing with the topic of relationship. And then it would be great if you all had a supervisor who is trained in PCP, but I think it's not possible. You will have the chance during the lessons to discuss and compare with others, and so find the meaning and read. Maybe your effort might be precisely and part of your learning process to in some way translate and use your PCP knowledge in that field. But of course, we don't require this kind of requisite. Thank you, and thank you for your kind words. Yeah, this is precisely one of the opportunities of the online training, that you can have professors from all over the world. It would be much more challenging if it was in person. Thank you.
And
We
one more question, sorry. In my city, in Belgrade, when we finish bachelor in clinical psychology, we don't have a thesis. So I have the other qualifications that are that I have for the entry into the program. But should I upload like a proof that there is no thesis or some way to?
Okay. Yeah. And
I will put it somewhere.
Yeah, I place more than the thesis. What is important, if you have a grade, a mark, a final mark, that is important. And then this requirement is also due to the usual requirements in Italy, but we totally understand that maybe you can specify in the curriculum or somewhere. Thank you. Veronica?
We have another right hand. Yeah, Veronica, please.
If you want to.
Hello. Oh, sorry.
If you want to show up and put the camera on, or otherwise we hear you.
Yeah, sorry. It's just because sometimes the connection is not so stable. So yeah, and there's as well my plumber going around. But yeah, just two quick questions. Okay, the first one is that I'm currently I'm working. I'm working as a humanitarian worker actually right now in an NGO. So I mean, I'm currently in Nairobi, but supposed to get back to Sudan, which is my duty station soon. So my worry is that if I enroll, then I'm not sure whether the internet connection is really stable where I'm going. So, what if I join the lessons and then, I drop off, or like my attendance, I think, won't be registered. What's going to happen with that? So I'm a bit worried for that. And my second point is for the trainship as well. So, so I mean, working, what's your advice for the trainship? I'm not sure I will have, time, to really do a trainship, or may my, in my work, in my job, may I be able to count some hours? I don't know how that works, yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Veronica. Both questions are very relevant. Then if David want to add anything. Anyway, as regard the connection and all these kind of problems, as I mentioned, we are really flexible, and we totally understand these kind of issues. So everyone attends how they can, the best they can, but of course, if you are missing parts of lessons, or we know it happens, it's already taken into account. We do prefer not to record the lessons, precisely because we strongly believe that even if it is online, even if the program is online, the interaction is crucial. So just having registrations wouldn't be the same, and neither so useful. Of course, all the slides are always available. And thank you again for allowing me to say this. We have a Moodle page. You will learn the system where we have all the material. About the second question, again, thank you, because this is precisely a suggestion we usually do. If you are already, as in your case, in an environment where you have the chance to do also the internship, that's probably the best solution, because we all know that most of you are already working, so you don't have so much time available. So if you find an agreement with your organization that they can sign your internship and have a supervisor that sign it, that's great. That's absolutely okay for us.
And you may be interested to know that one of the sessions will cover applications of PCP in Africa in a post-Civil War context. So that might be very relevant to your work in the NGO, and indeed in the NGO you might have an opportunity to apply PCP concepts in some way.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
We have another question from Amy. Would be the topic of leadership be relevant as topic for the thesis for the admission? I'm at the last year of Bachelor in Psychology and I'm considering directing my studies toward your master to enhance my possibility for admission.
Yes, of course it is. It's very relevant. Then, as you probably saw, Amy, and we also have some teachings on that. So, in general, on group dynamics and roles in the relationships. So, yes, that's relevant, of course.
Great. Okay, we have a thank you from Amy. If we have other question, please, you can still write it down. In the meantime, maybe if you agree, Professor Cipolletta, I can say a few closing remarks. I mean, thank you for the participation, of course. And I would like to remind you that the pre-registration for the course will expire on October 6th at 12:30, exactly at 12:30. So try to since every year last moment registration are there are some problems. I suggest you to try to anticipate your pre-registration. It's few documents that you have to collect and to upload in the portal. By that day, you must pre-enroll, and subsequently you will finalize your enrollment in the course. I will post in the chat the link of the course that also Professor Cipolletta showed you before, so you can right now take a look of all the contents, and of course we will share the registration that we are doing now, and also if Professor Cipolletta agrees the slides to the people who participated in the open day. I will also put in the chat the official email of the course, so you can use that contact to ask many other questions if you have. I'm sure that that professor will be happy to answer to you. So this is the link of the website of the course, and this is the email.
Okay, and while you were writing, there was another question about when they can do the traineeship during the 18th month, whenever you want. Of course, the later, the more difficult then is to finalize it. Usually, students starts at the end of the first year, something like that. But the earlier, the better, I would say. But it's up to you. You have to keep into account that you have to do those hours, so you can use 1 year to do that, just few months, and so concentrated. It's up to you, of course.
So thank you again. I think we can close this open day. If you want to add something, Professor,
yeah,
I will leave the floor.
David want to say something? David, do you want to say something? No?
No, only that I look forward to receiving all of your applications.
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to add that it is, at least from this short conversation, I heard few people different from different contexts again and disciplines. So I'm excited. It's very promising in my view. So I also hope that you will be all on board. Thank you very much.
And we have one further question that's just come in.
Yes, thank you for the question again. I think this question comes from a student from the University of Padua. So of course you have to check with your university, but as regards the University of Padua, departing from maybe last year, not so long before, you can apply for this short specialization program and at the meantime do a master degree course in psychology or whatever. So yes, it is possible, and I think it's also a good idea because so you have the chance to have some practical skills, more technical skills with our school, and in the meantime going on with your training and yeah. So thank you
So
again.
Thank you.
Bye everybody.
Bye bye.